What is going on, guys? Dustin here with another Star Trek, the official Starships collection video from U.S.S. And we are taking a look at the Oberth Class Starship, or otherwise, we may just say it, the U.S.S. Grissom. I don't know why that... Alright, first of all, I don't know why it says U.S.S. Pegasus, while this says U.S.S. Grissom. If it will get focus. There we go. So, what's the issue on that? Why'd you name it the U.S.S. Pegasus and then later change it to the U.S.S. Grissom? So, U.S. Collections, what was up with that? Then focus back down. There we go. Alright. Launched in the 23rd century with a length of 120 meters. Crew complement of 80. Not bad for a small little science vessel. So, here are the specifications. You have the ship itself and all the information. So, here's the ship itself, and let me tell you something about the Oberth class. It has a very unique feature among Starfleet designs in that the secondary hull is attached to the rest of the ship only through the nacelle pylons. That means you got the upper just connected with the pylons, so you got the secondary just down here. Like, how can you transport from... down here in the secondary to up here? But what's up with that? And with the Oberth class was an enduring design of the starship that was only mostly used to study astronomical phenomena. The ship was launched from at least as 2283 as late as to 2285 as to late as of 2375, nearly a century year later. It's also it was primarily designed to conduct science and research missions involving deployed to record, analyze, and study unusual spectral phenomena. In case of emergencies, Oberth class vessels were even deployed into battle. They took part in both battles, such as the famous Battle of Wolf 359 in 2367 and the Battle of Sector 001 in 2373. Basically, the Battle of Wolf 359 is the best of both worlds, and Sector 001 was Star Trek First Contact, the movie. Even though it's recognizable as a Federation starship, it has a unique design. The most notable aspects of construction was that the secondary hull is connected to the rest of the ship only through the nacelle struts. It indicated it was unmanned and contained cargo or sensor systems. Here's actually one, the U.S.S. Cochrane, named after Zephram Cochrane, NCC 59318, used to transport Admiral Nora Satie to the U.S.S. Enterprise in 2367. The following year, the Cochrane met up with the Enterprise D again so that Wesley Crusher could visit his mother, and it was used in 2369 to take Dr. Bashir and Jadzia Dax to Deep Space Nine. So, very unique history. And here's the cool thing, not all Oberth Class vessels were crewed by Starfleet personnel. For example, the U.S.S. was operating with civilian crew and its hull was sheared off in several places by gravitational wave fronts while exploring the interior of a black cluster. Hull breaches led to a lost atmosphere at several decks of the ship, and the entire crew, apart from a small boy named Timothy, were lost. Despite the enhanced shielding, the crews of several Oberth Class vessels were lost in their course of duties. The U.S.S. Grissom, NCC 638, which that we actually have. Of course, there's like a lot of vessels with the Oberth Class, but I think U.S.S. Grissom just serves for just for a search spot. I'm not sure why they. It was investigating the newly formed Genesis planet when it was destroyed by a single disruptor blast from a Klingon bird of prey, whose crew was hoping to acquire the Genesis device. The entire crew of the SS Savovsky NCC 53911 died after becoming infected with a variant of the Psi 2000 virus from modern class of a super red dwarf star. It was destroyed soon after it was hit by a stellar core fragment, but the Enterprise escaped a similar fate, bounced a repulsor beam off the Savovsky to push itself clear of the fragment. And this is what it actually was talking about. Here's the U.S.S. Pegasus, which served on the cover. It served as a prototype for an illegal Federation cloaking device. After explosion engineered, the ship drifted through a large asteroid before decloaking, leaving parts of it encased in rock. So, here's the ship itself. Over here, I think this is up. Yeah, this is the back. You have the main bridge up here. You actually got the red impulse engines, and when we look top down, you have the nacelles, the RCS thrusters. You have a defensive shield grid right down here, but they ain't all that great. Now, this is the unique feature about the ship. Like, how can you get cargo from down here to up there? Is it by maybe a turbo lift inside the pylons, or a sensor to go from one place to another? What's up with that? I hope somebody that did this search for Spock, I really need answers out of that. And here's actually the side. Basically, the crew quarters are in the upper saucer, upper level of the saucer section, arranged in a similar configuration like most Starfleet ships. Located in the front of the bridge was a view screen, side-by-side navigation and helm consoles. Directly from it, captain's chair is always in the middle of the room with a primary science station to port and secondary science consoles trailing along the wall at the back of the bridge. There's actually a scene where Geordi LaForge discovered that most of the Savovsky has frozen in death while he searched their quarters. And here's science consoles on the U.S.S. Grissom. They're more extensive than those on other Starfleet vessels. Now, Ensign Riker, a very unique history about him. His first posting after he left Starfleet Academy was aboard the U.S.S. Pegasus. He was the ship's con officer, and his youthful appearance earned him the nickname of Ensign Babyface. And what happened from there, he actually said that, and what goes on from there is unknown. The Oberth Class Starships, they were named in honor of the Austro-Hungarian-born German physicist Hermann Oberth. He is the one that considered founding fathers of modern rocketry and astronautics, so good thing on him. He deserved to have his name Oberth. So, here's the production design on Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Designers of the new starships in the movie also helped create the look of the entire movie. Their stunning art concepts. They were designed by the art department and model shop at Industrial Light and Magic. And it basically consists of David Carson and his boss, Nilo Rodis. Together they looked at 3 or 4 page outline of the story and try to identify shots that ILM will be involved with, see how it works out, and make it memorable as possible. And here's a perfect example. Suggests that what Carson suggests, that inside Space Dock people should be able to see the Enterprise in the window of a lounge. So basically, it's like an airport. So basically, what this actually reminds me of, it's like an airport when you got planes just taxiing on the runway. That's what it actually reminds me of. And here's Space Dock itself, and this is what actually reminds me. Like an airport, and you just have planes taxiing backwards and forwards and take off and all that. This is actually what inspires. Here's the Klingon bird of prey. Funny thing is, the ramp on the bird of prey was supposed to be face forward, but turned around, so the art department did not have build the front of the ship, which is actually pretty cool. And they basically want Genesis to actually have like a new life. We're looking at Genesis' lush verdant, but they want to establish a newly formed world as a unspoiled paradise. But sadly, that paradise turned to hell. Here's more concepts of basically the bridge, the bird of prey, basically concept art. And here's a funny. And here is a basically in the near end scene. I'm sorry if there's going to be a spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear a spoiler alert, I suggest either just go forward just for a few seconds, or if you want to take the risk and spoil the movie for yourself, I'm sorry. There were actually 2 ways of resurrecting Spock. The first concept was for Vulcan saw Spock's body being taken on a barge on a submerged river, but the bad news was it was too expensive. The design was actually on a temple where Spock was resurrected and regained his memory back of Admiral Kirk and the crew. And this is basically where the fall to a pond ceremony took place. So, building and designing the ship. Here's the model itself. And you actually also have a damaged variant right here. This is the second studio model to be shown where damage is, and this is the original studio model that's relabeled and reused several times. Basically, it's too expensive to basically build another model and name it another ship. So what they actually do, they actually take the name and the NCC registry number off and just relabel it. And here's one thing, this original model itself sold at an auction in 2006. Still labeled as U.S.S. Pegasus, but it was for $21,600. The final appearance of this ship was in Star Trek First Contact in the Battle of Sector 001, where it was built as a computer graphic model. So here is the on-screen. Star Trek III was the key appearance. The search for Spock. Admiral Kirk and British crew risked their careers stealing the U.S.S. Enterprise in order to return to the restricted planet of Genesis so they could recover Spock's body. The Oberth Class U.S.S. Grissom conducting a scientific study of the planet while it was destroyed by a rogue Klingon bird of prey. Its captain wants the power of the Genesis device for himself to go for any lengths to get it. Kirk finds himself facing having to make a huge personal sacrifice when he was to defeat the Klingons to be reunited with Spock. Basically, it went on from there, and Star Trek IV went on and completed the search for Spock arc. The Pegasus was another one. Admiral Eric Pressman boards the U.S.S. Enterprise NCC-171D with a top-secret assignment to retrieve his former ship, the U.S.S. Pegasus, lost 12 years earlier, that has recently been found. Their mission is to recover it before the Romulans get to it. The biggest plot twist: Riker served with Pressman aboard the Pegasus and knows what really happened to the Pegasus is being used to test an illegal cloaking device. And if he realizes that if he reveals the truth, it can end the treaty between the Federation and the Romulans. So he had to take some risk. So here, actor Terry O'Quinn played part of Eric Pressman in the Pegasus, and they were so impressed with his performance that he was the executive producer Michael Piller considered using the character in the episode Deep Space Nine, but it actually never reached fruition. He was perhaps best known for his role as John Locke in the J.J. Abrams produced television series Lost. And a little fast fact, the U.S.S. Grissom NCC-638 was named after astronaut Gus Grissom, the second American to fly in space. He was the designated commander aboard the Apollo 1 mission, but tragically he died in a fire during a launch dress rehearsal along with Roger Chaffee and Ed White. Now, I know I have his mission insignia. Yep. Right here. Coincidence. And this was the mission patch of both Ed White, Gus Grissom, and Roger Chaffee, Apollo 1. They died in a fire during a launch dress rehearsal, and they were trapped in their command module when it was set ablaze. They were unable to get out. This was actually the first ever space loss of the Apollo program, and it was not long until 1986, a challenge where we lost 7 Americans heading to space 73 seconds after liftoff. The Oberth Class, the Excelsior, the Space Dock Type Station, Klingon Bird of Prey all made their first appearances in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Their designs have been used for many years later in various screens incarnations of Star Trek. The next issue we're going to be taking a look at that is the Andorian Battlecruiser. The first ever time we're going to look at the Andorian Battlecruiser, the most powerful warship with the Andorian Imperial Guard in the mid-22nd century, and how John Eves talks about his Andorian designs, and look how the writing staff brought the Andorians back to the Star Trek universe. It's the back graphic. So let's take a look at the ship, the U.S.S. Grissom, named after United States astronaut Gus Grissom. I'll just leave this right here. Now, this ship Now, when I actually received this ship about, I think it was a month ago, I believe. I think it was. And my first thought was, what is this? What is this ship? Because I actually never seen a design like this before. Like, still, how are you supposed to get cargo from down here to up here? And that actually confuses me. Like, does this little guy right here, this gray round disc, have some kind of roll in it? But I can't complain about this. It actually looks much realistic in my hands. And let me tell you one thing about this ship. It's very unique in standards, because just like what I said, this upper saucer is on the struts of the warp nacelles. There's actually the back. The back looks very flat. It looks pretty cool. You also have the two warp nacelles. They're amazing. Now I know there's a lot of Oberth Class names, but so far this one is just real amazing. Like, I can't complain. They actually named it the U.S.S. Grissom. But reading about that fact about U.S.S. Grissom being named after Gus Grissom, that's probably the reason why they actually named it after him. So basically, what Star Trek universe would do, they would actually name a ship normally named after a famous person, like in the real world, for example. Enterprise is basically named after the aircraft carriers. We're supposed to be expecting a third aircraft carrier. The Space Shuttle Enterprise, various sail ships. And so far, it's actually pretty cool. Anyway, I actually like this ship. It looks much realistic. It looks pretty cool. So, nothing to complain about. Even though my biggest complaint was, like, why does this say the U.S.S. Pegasus while this says the U.S.S. Grissom? So, my best bet is there's probably a lot of ships that are named on the Oberth Class Starships, but it's just hard to pick one out and just for show with the die-cast ship, so it's hard to tell. So I got nothing else to say right now. I actually love this ship. Like that it actually stands the way it is. So I got nothing else to say right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you like this video. Leave a comment, subscribe. For more of these ships, I also do NASCAR Die-cast Reviews, which I am actually taking a little hiatus for now, because right now money is just tight on me right now, and I just can't risk spending it. So I'll probably be back with it about maybe a few months. So anyway, my name is Dustin, and I will see you later.